We told you earlier about how Asian central bankers may be moving a bit too slow to fight rising inflation. We mentioned that we'd bring you our FT correspondent, Ben McLannahan, over in Hong Kong. As promised, he is back, and he joins us now to give us more of an idea. And Ben, Australia has moved to raise interest rates, but you contend that Asia is still not adjusting monetary policy fast enough. Why is that?
Well, that's right. Australia is one of three that's taken several steps to normalise interest rate settings. Singapore's another, and through its exchange rate, and Malaysia also through its interest rate. But others seem to me to be very much behind the curve. If you look at output as the best indicator, region-wide, output has surpassed the levels that it did in mid-2008. And back then, interest rates were a lot higher, about 260 basis points, according to JP Morgan, a sort of output-weighted average across Asia. So it seems to me that there's lots of inflationary pressures building, not just in consumer prices, in food prices, in house prices and so on, but also asset prices. And that mispricing of capital is spilling over into all sorts of crazy directions, like we're seeing in China now, where we've gone from stocks to property to agricultural commodities.
Okay, well, Ben, why in general, then, is Asia so reluctant to move on this? Why won't they raise interest rates faster?
Well, there's two big reasons. The first one is, of course, the Eurozone's slow burn crisis, which is causing everyone to think, crikey, are we in for a double dip? If you read any Asian monetary policy statement, in the first or the second paragraph, there'll be some kind of some mention of Europe. And the second is fiscal position. I mean, Asia hasn't had much of a fiscal crisis so far, but still, government revenues aren't enough in many cases, to pay for outgoings. And so there's enormous pressure from governments on central bankers to keep the economy ticking over at a rate that's perhaps more than optimal.
Okay,
and we can see that in Korea in particular, where there's overt pressure.
And perhaps they're just waiting for the Fed and the ECB to move first. Thank you very much, Ben McLannahan, FT Lex writer, joining us live from Hong Kong.